Do you constantly find yourself procrastinating and pushing back on the tasks that you actually have to do and you know that you have to do them? Do you constantly find yourself procrastinating and pushing back on tasks that are actually important and you know that you have to do them? But you get nothing done and life of that feels out of control? Can you relate that you distract yourself with meaningless tasks, pushing back on what actually matters and actually causes you more stress? Look, I was in the same spot. And trust me, it's not that difficult to fix it. So I will try to explain how procrastination starts and occurs and how to beat it in a pretty simple way, right? Without even relying much on your motivation or discipline. Because look, I was never a Mr. Motivation or Mr. Discipline. No, I used to procrastinate a lot from the actual tasks for a long time, distracting myself with something meaningless, saying that, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, it will be meaningful in the future, stacking myself with the tasks that don't really push the needle, thinking that I'm being productive just by being busy. And the big shift for me really happened when I had to write my bachelor's thesis while I was working full time. I was going to the gym and I was learning the CFA and trying some coding at the same time, right? So what was quite a lot. So I knew I had to stop pushing for the amount, but start pushing for the quality and see what am I doing right, what am I doing wrong, and what actually pushes the needle. So of course I've been struggling in the beginning. Regular tasks which I thought will take me an hour actually took me 2.5 hours because I was distracting myself. And of course there was a messy middle, but I got out of it. So first of all, understand that the stress, I think it was Jeff Bezos who said it, right? He said something like that: stress comes from actions which you have control over, but you keep delaying. And unconsciously, we all have in our mind this belief that we are delaying the task because we either have no control over it or we don't know how to do this. But that's actually not true. If you really think about the things that you keep delaying for, are the ones that you do have control over and the ones that you know how to do. But for some reason, you think it will be like very painful to do this. Either you are very, very afraid of a negative outcome if unsuccessful, or from something else. So in the past, when I was pushing back on doing things that really matter, I was telling myself, oh, like, I've never done it before, I don't know how to do this. It actually brings you so much stress. The tasks that bring you the most stress are the ones which you do know how to do, but you just keep pushing back on them. Dopamine detox, of course, I've talked about it like a billion times, and I will talk about it a billion times more because it's actually so important. It is the, where's my, oh, come on. It is the actual key. It is the actual key to everything. And I do think it is the key for your like whole quality of life. I do think it is actually the biggest factor. So if you are bombarded with high stimulation activities, you won't really have any motivation to work on hard tasks. And great way to start it, to fix it, would be just eliminating high stimulation activities. Of course, no alcohol, no smoking. That should go by default, right? But like try no social media, no junk food, no checking your email 50 times per day. Even though my actual office job depends very much on checking email because that's where you get news. So it is actually a job for me, but I still to try eliminate it because it gets me distracted a lot, and it's quite easy, to get lost in this when you work on something difficult, some bigger project which requires your active focus, and you just don't want to do that difficult focus because it's mentally demanding, and you will just distract yourself with checking email, checking stock prices, checking like any news flow. It's easy to come up with an excuse like this because it sounds like semi-valid that yeah, I need to check this, I need to check that, but it's really bad for you. It's really bad for you. And all again, it all stems from your phone. I do think that it all stems from your phone because in the phone you get so much different like high stimulation at the same time, especially when you keep multitasking. I think multitasking is really bad for your brain when you want to focus on some mentally demanding activity, right? Don't rely on your motivation and discipline. Actually create systems. I think this idea is from Atomic Habits, probably. So I was always in the beginning focusing on my motivation. I thought that was the key, but I understood that motivation won't really be there. Motivation is probably with you like 10% of the time. So what about the other 90? When I realized that, I started focusing on my discipline, because it's actually the discipline that makes you wake up and do the things that you do when you have no motivation. And that was probably for majority of my life. Before I realized that discipline can also break. You can't always rely on the discipline because you can't always rely on yourself. You don't know what you will do. So actually create systems that will make you as easy as possible to do something that you have to do, and as difficult as possible to avoid it. So just structure your day like this. And what I mean by this is, for example, on cold showers, I try to make it as easy as possible in the morning. So as soon as I wake up, my towel is right beside me. I just need to reach it with my hand, and I don't even put on my underwear. I just leave my room completely naked and go to the bathroom, go to the shower for the cold exposure. I don't have to do anything else, and I have to like look at my weight in the scale, do something on the paper. No, immediately go to the cold shower. For the gym, my gym bag is always ready. I don't have to pack it like 1 hour before I leave. I have necessary sources of caffeine with me. I have the pre-workout in my office. I have caffeine pill in my office backpack. I always have earphones with me. And I already got used to eating my pre-workout meal in the office 1 hour before leaving. So imagine I take my pre-workout meal, I take my caffeine 1 hour before the actual workout. How do you think I will be likely to skip the gym when I feel energetic, when I feel caffeinated, when I feel pumped and strong and energetic? How likely do you think I will be willing to skip the workout when I already feel so much energy and I have my clothes right with me in the office? I will be pretty unlikely to skip it, right? That would be quite stupid with me. What will I do? Like go home and scroll social media all caffeinated? Unlikely. Quite unlikely. When it comes to not using your phone, delete all social media, right? That is just non-negotiable. Put phone on a grayscale mode and put on the focus mode. Right now, I have focus mode all the time. Just imagine it, focus mode all the time. It means I'm not getting any notifications. I'm not even getting any calls. I'm not getting any calls in general, but when I do get them, now they're even silenced. And I haven't missed a single call which would say you just won a lottery, but because you didn't pick up the phone, you won't get $1 million. No, it will never happen. Trust me, it will never happen. If someone really needs to message you, they will message you and they will get to you. And it will never be like some sort of emergency situation. It just doesn't really happen. It's like how likely is it, right? I think in last how long have I had phone for? I think I have phone for 10 years, right? I had phone for 10 years, like my personal phone, and it never happened to me that someone called me with some kind of emergency, that they need me right now. It never really happened. Look, there are plenty of systems you can develop for your specific activities because it's all like very individual. So like you don't even have to come up with that yourself. Just ChatGPT. ChatGPT, it's this stuff and experiment with what works for you. Just make following, make like working on difficult tasks as easy as possible and avoiding that as difficult as possible. And just always ask yourself, does it really pushes the needle? Does it really pushes the needle? If you have to do like I don't know, like a sales calls, right? Pushing the needle would be to actually calling your potential clients. It won't be like stalking your potential clients or on social media, or studying their biography, or researching more potential clients, or looking for like conferences where you might get potential leads. It would be to actually calling your clients, right? Actually pushing the needle in the gym won't be, like developing new workout plan, new dieting plan, or watching more videos on YouTube on how to get a six-pack, or like shopping for new trainers. No, it would be actually lifting weights in the gym. That would be pushing the needle. Reading the book would actually be reading the book, not researching which new book to read, or ordering the book, or like thinking, should I buy a paper book or should I buy a Kindle, or like whatever. You know what I mean, right? Even when you think you are being productive and doing an important task, I always ask myself, am I actually pushing the needle? Am I doing the thing that gets me the progress, or am I doing some shallow work? And it's applicable to many areas in your life, not only your own projects, but in your office job as well. So think about it, right? So the key here is, you already know, key everywhere, as I think, is doing a dopamine detox. Why I think it's relevant here is because the dopamine detox will allow you to work on more, like painful and mentally demanding tasks, actually with the joy. So you won't be distracting yourself with like meaningless tasks, because procrastination is in fact distracting yourself with meaningless tasks.